My ex-fiancée cheated on me with her former partner, then had the nerve to ask if I'd stay in the kids' lives. I said no. They didn't take it well. Hey, Reddit, I+ here. Ever have your world flipped upside down by just a few words? Mine was, "We need to talk." You already know how that goes. That phrase has probably ended more relationships than missed anniversaries or telling someone to calm down during a fight. I'm 32. Name's Marcus. Just your average guy. I work full-time as a mechanic, make a killer grilled cheese, and I'm a sucker for horror flicks. Life was pretty ordinary. Until recently, I was engaged to a woman named Candace. She's 34, had fiery red hair, and a grin so convincing, I wouldn't put it past a charming jury into setting her free for a crime she clearly committed. Not saying she did, just saying she could. Candace came into the relationship with 3 kids from a previous relationship. 2 boys, Max and Eli, and their younger sister, Jordan. I met them when they were 7, 5, and 3. Now they're 12, 10, and 8. I wasn't just dating Candace. I was raising her children. That meant 5 years of school drop-offs, birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese, a.k.a. my personal definition of purgatory, staying up with fevers, and pulling off the tooth fairy gig. Even the time Eli caught me and demanded $10 of the emotional distress. Those kids? I didn't just care about them. I loved them. I was all in. Their biological father? His name's Kevin. Real guy, not a placeholder. He walked away when Jordan was still in diapers. No phone calls. No financial help. Just vanished, except for his Facebook profile full of gym selfies and cheesy motivational posts about what it means to be a real man. Oh, the irony. As for Candace and me, things were solid. At least, that's what I believed. Sure, we had a spat now and then, but nothing that made me think the ground was crumbling beneath us. I was deep into wedding planning. Venue? Booked. My mom already bought her dress. I'd even agreed grudgingly to do a line dance at the reception. Then came that night. She sat me down. We need to talk. I tried to lighten the mood. Nerves do that to me. I said, if you're about to tell me you're pregnant, that's going to raise some serious questions for science. She didn't laugh. Instead, she admitted she'd been seeing someone for the last 4 months. She said she never planned for it to happen, that it just did. Then she dropped the name. Kevin. I genuinely thought she was messing with me, like this was some dark prank show. Kevin, the ghost from the past who bailed for 5 straight years and doesn't know the difference between there and there. But no, she wasn't joking. Apparently, they'd reconnected for the kids, she said, and things just developed. Like tripping and falling. Only instead of bruises and embarrassment, it was betrayal and broken vows. And, the bonus of potential child support obligations. She cried. I didn't. I sat there, numb, like someone had punched my soul right out of my chest. And not just anyone, Kevin. A dude who probably still wears Axe body spray and cargo shorts. Then she said something that made everything worse. I hope we can still co-parent. You've been their father in all the ways that count. I blinked. You mean while you move in with Kevin? You expect me to stay involved? Be what weekend fill-in backup babysitter? She nodded. Nodded like she was asking me to grab milk from the store. Not to keep being a dad to kids while she played house with the guy who walked out on them. Marcus, they love you. You're a part of our family. I looked her straight in the eye. Candace, I'm not going to be the unpaid emotional crutch while you ride off into your second chance fantasy with Kevin 2.0. She looked stunned, like I was a heartless one for not agreeing to stay on as an unpaid extra in the family sitcom reboot starring her and her ex. I left that night, packed my things, told the kids I had to go away for a bit. I couldn't look Jordan in the eyes without falling apart. For weeks, I was a wreck. My apartment looked like sadness had signed a lease, empty pizza boxes, old tissues, comfort food wrappers. I binge-watched Grey's Anatomy and cried more than I'm proud of. Go ahead, judge me. I can take it. Then came the messages. From Candace. They miss you. Jordan won't touch her broccoli without you. Max cried and asked why you don't love them anymore. From Kevin, of all people. Step up, bro. You were there. Be a man. Be a man? From him? The same guy who abandoned his family when Jordan was still learning to walk? The same guy who hadn't changed a diaper since Obama's first term? I blocked them both. I needed space. I found a therapist. Started jogging. Even though every step made my knees sound like they were popping popcorn. Slowly, day by day, I began to feel human again. Then, 6 months later, someone knocked on my door. Candace. Her hair was messy, eyes swollen, Jordan clutching her hand. She said Kevin had bailed. Again, he said he's not ready. The kids need you. I looked down at Jordan, her tiny face filled with hope. Then I looked at Candace. And for 1 second, just a breath, I wanted to say yes. But I didn't. I said, I'm sorry. I'm not their father. That was your decision. Candace broke down crying. Jordan looked at me like I'd turned into the villain of her bedtime story. But I gently closed the door. Because sometimes love just isn't enough. Sometimes doing what's right means walking away. And sometimes not being dad anymore is the only way to become the man you were always meant to be. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I regretted my decision, but because my chest physically ached. You ever care so deeply that letting go feels like tearing something living out of yourself? That's what it was like, peeling Velcro off your soul. Painful, sticky, lingering. They weren't just her children. They were mine, too. I was the one who taught Max how to throw a spiral. I spent a whole December building a dollhouse for Jordan and walked away with so many splinters, I looked like I lost a brawl with a porcupine. I stayed up all night when Eli came down with the flu and threw up on my Xbox. Didn't even get mad. I love them. No, I still do. But Candace didn't just cheat on me. She chose someone else to be the father figure. And when it collapsed, when it blew up in her face, she wanted me to just step right back in like nothing happened. Like I was some spare pair of shoes she tossed in the back of the closet and only remembered when the nice ones wore out. That's not me. I don't do backup love. The next day, I met with my therapist and laid it all out. Every messy, raw piece of it. Told her I wasn't angry Candace came back. I was angry at myself for hoping, for allowing that little flicker inside to imagine something working out. That made me feel weak. But my therapist looked at me and said something that hit like truth always does. Quiet but sharp. You can love them and still walk away. That's not weakness. That's growth. And that stuck with me. So I didn't reply to Candace's texts. I didn't call the kids. But I wrote them each a letter. Letters I keep to this day. Maybe I'll give them those one day, when they're old enough to understand things adults can't even say out loud. I told them how proud I was of them, that I loved them deeply, that none of this was their fault. And then I let go. It was brutal. The quiet after years of joyful chaos was deafening. But in that stillness, I found something I hadn't felt in a long time myself. I went back to the garage, picked up side work fixing up old cars, started volunteering at an after-school program. And funny thing, turns out there are a lot of kids out there who need someone to show up, to listen, to be a steady presence. And this time I do it on my terms. Fast forward a couple years. One Saturday, I was grabbing coffee when I saw him, Max, taller now, thin, headphones in, hoodie up. He saw me and froze. Then he ran, wrapped his arms around me so tight I thought my ribs might pop. He said, I never stopped missing you. And yeah, I cried, right there on the sidewalk. We sat together, talked for a while. I told him I was proud of him, asked how school was going, life, everything. He told me Kevin had left again, this time for good, said their mom was struggling, and the three of them were just trying to hang in there. Then he asked me the question I dreaded. Why didn't you come back? I looked at him, really looked at him, and said, because I wasn't wanted back until everything was already broken. And you deserve people who choose you first, not when it's convenient. He didn't argue, just nodded like something clicked. Then he said, you were the only real dad I ever had. I cried again that night, but this time it wasn't grief. It was closure. These days, I'm in a much better place. I'm dating someone new. Her name's Tasha. She laughs too loud and has a cat that seems to have made it her mission to assassinate me. But she brings a calm into my life I didn't think was possible. No drama. No exes in the background. No secrets. She knows everything about my past. And you know what she said? I'm glad you chose you. Because now I get to love the whole version of you, scars and all. So if you're out there hurting, maybe someone betrayed you, maybe you're stuck in that limbo between holding on and letting go, hear this. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to say no. You don't have to keep setting yourself on fire just to keep other people warm. Sometimes the most courageous thing you'll ever do is close the door and not reopen it. A few weeks after I saw Max, Candace messaged me again. The kids keep asking about you. Maybe you could stop by? Just dinner. I stared at it. A piece of me wanted to say yes. For the kids, for the memories, for the part of me that still missed them all. But I didn't. Instead, I typed back, I'll always care about them, but I'm not your fallback option. I'm not the thing you return to when the other things fall apart. They deserve consistency, and so do I. She never replied, and that was okay, because sometimes love isn't enough to stay, but self-respect, that's enough to leave and never look back.